Hey Angels, this is the weekly general reading, and we're going to start with the dice as always. Beginning with, it's 50-50 party and massage. Party and massage are straightforward, but although party can also mean like a person. It'd be like a party of three, or, a particular party, if it doesn't mean a party, a partay. 50-50 can be about balance or give and take, or you do some and I do some, we split it down the middle, or like something can go either way. Maybe it'll be yes, maybe it'll be no. Maybe I'll win, maybe I'll lose, like that. Try again. Sex and cocktail. And I will try again. And Spirit says no. With the cards, we're beginning with the Four of Swords, but I wanted to show you, I shuffled a couple decks. These are not the only decks, but of the mini decks that I shuffled, all of these are tarot decks or tarot cards, as opposed to like oracle cards. And with both, I ended up with the Four of Swords upright on top. So the Four of Swords is a card that's about the need for a break or rest, or restoration, like healing, or to make a decision. And maybe the need to, in this case, like to break free, can be about a break. The need to get away from someone or something. With the devil showing up, this can be the someone or something. Perhaps an actual Capricorn. And it can be about like the need to make a decision and you're not really sure what to do. Maybe it's 50-50. And so you decide to meditate on it in order to figure it out. It can also be like about the planning stages of a vacation for me. I see it sometimes in connection with the Six of Swords, which can be about travel. And so like the Four of Swords is like that stage before that, like maybe we should go away. Let's look and see if there are any flights or what kind of trip we should go on. Let's think about it, that kind of planning stage. Queen of Cups coming up here. Most directly represents the sign of Scorpio, but also potentially Cancer or Pisces, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Can be about the need to pay attention to your intuition, or to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself as good as you're taking care of other people. And be as kind to you as you are to other people. Speaking of the Six of Swords, here it is. So maybe someone is planning travel or movement or moving, whether literal or metaphoric. It would go either way. And there's that devil again. So I think for at least somebody that's watching, it is about breaking free of, again, someone or something, maybe an addiction, a toxic relationship, whether it's a familial relationship, romantic relationship, BFF, parent-child, whatever. Something's toxic, or it can be like an addiction to something. Sex turned up in the dice. Sex, cigarettes, liquor, drugs, combination of those, all of the above. And somebody actually breaking free, maybe because of the energy of Aquarius. Right now the sun is in Aquarius. Venus entered Aquarius this week. Also, what else? Or Venus enters Aquarius this week. What else goes on? What else? There's a bunch of Aquarius stuff. And I'm feeling a block mental note. Speaking of Aquarius, one of Aquarius's birthstones is amethyst. And I have been seeing all this stuff about purple and amethyst and rainbows and rainbow people and metal, of course. And you guys know about ox. Been seeing ox for years. And this year in Chinese astrology happens to be the year of the metal ox. But speaking of the purple, like I said, amethyst is one of Aquarius's birthstones. That's one thing. But I felt like the purple was so important. And then there was a discovery made, a 3,000-year-old like um, ball of yarn, kind of, for lack of a better explanation of what it was, and it was purple. Royal purple was the color, and a planet was discovered, and it too is purple. And there was something else I wanted to tell you. If I remember, I'll let you know later. So the card that most directly represent us this week is the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers. The Ten of Cups in reverse. Work and finance. Four of Pentacles. Somebody needs to leave a job that's like a dead-end job, or you get from there as a paycheck. Love and relationship, womp womp. Five of Cups. But again, maybe because you had to get away from a toxic relationship with the devil you know. Before I get into it, I mean, I felt myself like sort of freezing and pausing, and hopefully the pauses aren't too long and not saying anything because things are running through my head. So I got to say a little bit more about the Six of Swords and the devil, and beginning with the Four of Swords. So for somebody, like I said, it could be a really serious situation where it was a toxic relationship or something. It could be an abusive relationship. And like when you're planning, I got to get away from him or her. And then like I'm going to, run to a shelter or whatever the case is, how serious it is. Like it's a safe getaway. This is the worst, leaving the worst behind you. This is getting away safely. Especially since this devil has flipped upside down. Okay. This is a indication that there's been something freed. And look at this. Behind the devil, the Eight of Cups also in reverse. So again, getting away from something or someone that wasn't good for you. And then we also have death. So death and bringing it into something. And maybe it was the Leo full moon, right? We have the energy of strength here, as well as the King of Wands and the Knight of Swords, which is like this, something is urgent. It has to be taken care of right now. So a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone like into those traits or attributes. Maybe Mercury himself, as in Mercury retrograde. Maybe Venus herself. The fact that she enters Aquarius this week could be what brings it on. Or again, like I said, maybe it's attached to the Leo new moon, full moon rather, or the energy of Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone like into those traits or attributes. And of course, Aries equals Mars, possibly Mars being involved. And if death is also partnered with that in terms of Mars also rules the sign of Scorpio, not just Aries, right? And so we have death here, which also represents Scorpio. Where was this death card? Was it? I don't even remember where it was. Hopefully I'm putting it in the right position. So this is the strength to face any and everything that comes your way. Even a situation like that where you're feeling you have to get away, like I said, from someone or something because it is toxic and or abusive or addictive. It is hurting you. So there could be situations like that. We saw party in the dice, and I said it could represent some sort of party of three. Maybe somebody's realizing that they need to end like a relationship where they are cheating on a mate, or where a mate is cheating on them. They're like, I got to get out of this. I can't keep, hurting myself by being attached to this relationship or this person. Um, for someone, there could be something going on at the job too. The job is not, maybe it's like practically being treated like you're in some kind of servitude or like a slave, because the Four of Pentacles in the position of work and finance indicates that the job is not someplace that makes you happy. It's just someplace from where you get a paycheck and there's a need to leave. So for those of you happen to watch this, if you are in a serious situation and you're planning an exit, my cards indicate a safe exit, and I hope that the fact that you saw the Four of Swords, heard me talk about the um, graduation up from the Four to the Six of Swords, saw me reference the devil And the fact that it was upright, and now see that the 4 is gone and the 6 is here. So we passed the planning stage. We're up to the stage of execution. It's a safe execution. We leave the worst behind us. So even if you're not in as serious a situation as, one that I described, whatever you're leaving behind this week, for those of you who are, know that you're leaving the worst behind you. You're not. You've made the right decision, and maybe the 4 of Swords represents that decision, and you've gotten away from whatever it is you need to get away from, or you do it this week, or at least you plan to do it this week. And when you do execute it, it's a safe. Like I said, it's a safe exit, and you're leaving the worst behind you. Just want everybody to understand that. And that is our overall energy for all of us. So even if we're not in that kind of situation, or we don't feel that we are, maybe for some it'll be, so slight, the leaving behind of something that isn't necessarily good for us, that we won't even realize that we experienced it. Maybe you say, oh, I'm giving up chocolate, and you don't associate it with the reading. It could be for some of us, it could be something that's a lot, not as serious. Because we're all sharing the 6 of Swords as overall energy. So it indicates at least a slight reduction in stress is what the card actually means. Things may not be perfect, but they're certainly better than they may have been in the recent past. And you feeling like you can get your head above water. There's always water in the card when you see the 6 of Swords, even though it's air. And you might need to take a break. You can still be in that situation where you need to take a break because the worst is off, is behind you. And it's like breathing a sigh of relief. And now I can rest for a moment. I can sit down for a moment. And break doesn't necessarily mean something that has to cost money or a lot of money. At least like time for yourself. Maybe to clear your head or something. And the same can go for work. Again, the 6 of Swords is about a break from work, or so maybe a vacation. It could be you deciding to leave altogether, especially when we look at the 4 of Pentacles here as well. In case of love, it can be about also, again, a need for some sort of change of scenery, and maybe that means you and your mate together needing a break, or maybe that means you needing a break from your mate. Again, you needing some time to yourself, period. And if that's the case, you shouldn't feel bad about what you need to do in order to nurture yourself. Maybe that's why the Queen of Cups showed up here as I was shuffling as well. The card indicates a need to get out of like your routines and to get away from your usual like haunts and places that you frequent, and to do something different and meet somebody new and explore and live, right? And enjoy and live life. From a health perspective, the 6 of Swords indicates a need, and it indicates that a health professional is probably who can best help you. So, whereas in some cases, even holistic people like myself, holistic practitioners like myself would say, oh, stay home and, drink a tea and take some echinacea and take a bath with some lavender and all kinds of stuff like that, there could be something where we need a scientific diagnosis, and then we can go from there. But again, more than anything, it shows a need for a break, even in the cases of health. So a vacation from something may help. Like if you're feeling really stressed out and stuff, that can lead to a serious health matter, right? If you don't take a break. So it's like, I'm really, really stressed out. My blood pressure's going, getting super high. If I keep working, I'll need a doctor. If I go on vacation right now, or call in and take a day off and take some time to myself, then maybe I'll save myself with that. So that is the 6 of Swords upright. So moving on to the 7 of Pentacles reverse. This is the card that's going to most directly represent us this week. And, it's about returns on investment. So I think for the most part, we're going to find that we're feeling good about things that we've done. And even in terms of return on investment, like I got out of a situation and already, like the sun is shining around me, like I can see that things are better. So I put in some effort somewhere and it really has paid off in my life, right? I just feel like I can breathe now. So it can be something like that. Also, it can be about a need to get some like real clarity about what it means, what it looks like when we reach our goals, when we meet our goals. And it's in this, it's in the pentacles, because earth signs are like this a lot of the time. They set these goals, right? And like I said, they always reach their goals. They always carry them out. The knight of pentacles is the only knight in the deck that's considered to always reach his goal. I mean, these people are so, goal oriented and committed and dedicated to like work and what they set their mind to, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, right? But sometimes so much so that they don't like realize when they've won. You know what I'm talking about? When you don't realize when you've won. So it's like you just keep moving the goalposts further and further out from yourself because you don't realize, okay, like I've succeeded and it's time for me to take a break. Like now I can sit back and smile and gloat, and be in my glory about my success. Like they don't realize they've succeeded, so they keep going and they keep going and they keep going and they keep going. And again, like moving the goalposts further and further away from themselves. So this is what this card warns us not to do that this week, and to learn to recognize what it means when we've made it and when we've won. So going back into a scenario that may be serious and getting away from something harmful, sometimes even when we do that, we can still miss the thing or the person and not realize that I just came out on top of this thing. Or we can beat ourselves up because, I stayed there too long or whatever. Like, none of that. Know that you are victorious in that moment when you separate yourself from something that is, or someone that is toxic to you. And so whatever happened prior to that does not matter. And this is what's important this week. In the surrounding energy, so close friends, family members, and co-workers and things, we have the Ten of Cups in reverse. And this card, it points to general happiness, but also warns us. So it's kind of like what I was just talking about with the Seven of Pentacles, warns us not to like overlook happiness that's already in our life because we're continuing to want something more perfect. And this can be with earth signs too. It's like sometimes they don't go for what it is they want, what it is they desire, because they don't think yet. Like I, again, not recognizing when they've won. It's like I haven't earned it yet. So what's an example? It can happen a lot of times in relationships. And it's like, it's never the right time. It's never going to be the right time. Because it's like, well, first I want to make enough money, to be able to take you to nice places. Okay, you made enough money to take me to nice places. Yeah, but now I'd really like to make enough money to buy your house. Okay. Oh, now you got the house. Yeah, but I'd really like to make enough money to, buy a car. How can we get together if I don't have a car? Like, how am I going to drive you around? Okay, you get a car. And in the meantime, the relationship's not happening, right? Because you're trying to do all this stuff in preparation for the relationship. As if it's going to become more perfect, or the time to do it is going to become more perfect. And it doesn't. That's not the way life works, right? One day you look up and there is no more time if you keep doing that. So this card warns against and the Ten of Cups can be about, close friends and family members on its own. It's in that placement, but it can be about that on its own. I think this card is also warning us in that regard. Then again, life is short. Like, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family. Stop moving the goalposts away from yourself, and be in the present and count your blessings and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate life and your successes, and like celebrate yourself when you have those successes. Doesn't this look like, people celebrating themselves, celebrating togetherness and family? That's what we should be doing. So moving on to work and finance. As I've already said, Four of Pentacles can point to like anxiety, fear, about money, and so that causes us to like cling to a job so that we can feel secure, cling to a job that, you know, maybe isn't good for us. Um, because we're just so concerned about, yeah, this being able to provide for ourselves. I'm not saying, I don't want to sound like I'm talking down about those things, like, oh, it's crazy to want to be able to provide for you. Of course people want to provide for themselves. um the fear of not being secure, first of all, is not, doesn't really make much sense for divine beings. If you're really honest with yourself about who you are and what you are, we're not supposed to fear stuff like that anyway, because what do we do when we need something, right? It's manifestation. So it's not like fear of security. You're supposed to know you're always going to be all right. That's what faith is about. That's associated with manifestation, of the belief that something can really, come to pass. Um, but yeah, the work in this case can be the devil, perhaps. And it's that thing that we need to leave, because all this job provides us is perhaps a paycheck. And so, again, not to look a gift horse in the mouth and talk about a paycheck as if it's not something that we need, but there are jobs where you can get a paycheck and you can feel like you're serving your life purpose, like you're giving back to humanity or the world, you're making a difference, you're enjoying yourself, you're happy where you are, you feel, purposeful yourself, you feel necessary, you feel comfortable, like it comes natural to you to be able to do what you're doing. And that's not wherever this place is with the Four of Pentacles. So some of us may be thinking about getting out of our jobs. Speaking specifically about finances, again, it's anxiety about money and just trying to hold on to every penny as if we don't have the ability to manifest. And I do advise against that sort of self doubt, which is also what the Five of Cups is about. You can like break this grip, and maybe that's what the devil represents for some of us, like a grip on ourselves. Maybe it has nothing to do with somebody else. It can be just be about fear, And you can break the script that fear has on you by reminding yourself that, like, no matter what the circumstances are, first of all, there's always someone that's less fortunate than you, and that the flow of prosperity requires us to have a mindset of abundance and our ability to attract it, not fear. So that's that card. And last but not least, love and relationship. Five of Cups. So a relationship may have just ended, or it could be in the process of ending, right? And we just got to realize, again, all is not lost. Even if we've left a horrible person, sometimes we can still miss them, or a horrible situation, sometimes we can still miss it. And so that may be what the Five of Cups is about for some of us. Again, think of it as a victory. There are better times ahead of you, is what our overall energy says. So at the end of the day, that's what we have to look at. You're probably not yet ready, if this is the case with you, to move into a new relationship. So give yourself a chance to take a break, like the Four of Swords suggests, and then get back out there. You know, and there will come a day when you'll believe what I'm saying right now. You'll realize that, the reason this relationship ended is to get you into the place that you really, needed to be or wanted to be, or both. Which is, in a relationship that's healthy and really works for you. All right, isn't that what we all want? So I just want to further clarify these cards with some other cards. Like I said, I did shuffle other tarot cards, also beginning with the Four of Swords, called the Four of Air in this deck, but it's still the Four of Swords. Oh, look, it's the King of Cups. He wants to say hi. He is a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And he may be who's feeling pessimistic, doubtful about something, maybe having to do with an air sign. That's the next card. There's the strength to make it through any situation. If you're feeling doubtful, like you made a mistake, and all we can do is go back and apologize. I think that's a separate message from what I've been talking about thus far. So anyway, Four of Swords. Behind it is the world. So again, something coming to an end, something changing, the dynamic changing, something's come full circle, cycle has coming to a close, could be karmic completion. Represents fire energy for me, the world. And you see the next card was the Nine of Swords. So that's about fear and anxiety, which we've been seeing. The world is often, again, a job coming to an end, laid off, company went out of business, or it's closing, whether temporarily or permanently. There's some kind of break in there for you, or a relationship dynamic or is changing or ending, or living condition. That's the world. So it goes along with what we've been talking about and seeing in the other cards. Our new overall energy is the Chariot. Another card of movement, moving, travel, victory. It's like the Six of Swords. Behind it is the Seven of Pentacles. The card that most directly represents us this week. Seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action. Unnecessary worry. Any worry is unnecessary. Look what's behind it. Dreamer, major arcana card 0, the Fool in the traditional tarot. So all about a brand new start. We're leaving that, whatever that was, or whoever that was behind us, and we're starting with a brand new start. This card in this particular deck, so this exact card, has always felt like Mercury to me, the planet Mercury. So it also represents for me Mercury, Gemini rather, and Virgo, which Mercury rules. And Mercury went full on retrograde today. Today's the 30th of January. So that could be why this is showing up. We got another strength card. Again, the ability to face any and every situation that comes your way. Represents the sign of Leo, where the full moon occurred just 2 days ago. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. So the ability, again, to face any and everything that comes your way. Let me shuffle the other cards too, so I don't have to move these again. And we're beginning with Kuan Yin and Care and Compassion. This is the Keepers of the Light Oracle. Wanted to use these. I wanted a card that had a deck that has not only the purple, because I noticed after last week's reading, I was watching the general myself, and I noticed that every single one of the cards that I pulled had the purple border. So I was talking about the purple before, and how it represents royalty. A lot of people were asking, like, what was the deal with purple and pearls around the time of the election? And it really goes back to, ancient cultures, particularly ancient African cultures. That it was a card of a color of royalty. For me, it also represents the seventh ray, which is the ray that is protected by Saint Germain and his divine feminine Lady Portia, which is like the equivalent of justice or Ma'at. And in that vein, justice and civil rights and things. Sojourner Truth, who was a slave, she was a slave. She was just like Frederick Douglass, I guess. She was also somebody who fought for rights, and she was a poet. So the poet and author, also Alice Walker, was always trying to emulate Sojourner. And that's from where her book title, The Color Purple, comes from. And, moving forward, Sojourner inspired also Shirley Chisholm, who was the first Black woman to run for president. And she was always about her pearls. The pearls were associated with suffragettes. So again, fighting for civil rights, suffragettes and abolitionists. So that's where the whole thing with our new Madam Vice President, Kamala, the purple and the pearls came from. She added the Chucks, of course. Chucks, of course, Chuck Taylors is what I'm talking about. Her sneakers, her Converse. So we saw the Chucks and pearls and you saw the purple, but people were making all kinds of comments and they had no idea what the hell they were talking about. They just didn't get it. And rather than look it up and try to do the research on what it was about, instead they like mocked it and made all kinds of jokes. So that's where it's about. But for me, it's definitely tied into our divine, bigger picture, because again, I had been seeing the purple in addition to rainbows and the need to wear metal, also not just amethyst and purple clothes for a while now. I wore it that day, and I told a bunch of my clients, put on your purple, put on your amethyst, like when we were watching the inauguration and stuff. And I put on a bracelet that I didn't even realize until I was watching it. The bracelet was both purple and metal. I'm going into the weeds, but I got into that whole thing and talking about this deck. So I was watching the general reading myself, and I just noticed that all the cards that I pulled for clarifications had a purple border, and I was like, "More purple." I had to get to the bottom of this. So now I'm understanding much more what it's all about. All right. Anyway, so Kuan Yin, who's another like mother portrayal, like Mary. It's another virgin mother. She emerged from a lotus flower. Choose to be love. Do what you know is right for everyone involved. So justice, like I was saying, like Lady Portia represents purple, Ma'at, justice. Offer a helping hand. Speaking of justice, right, the guardians of it. Joan of Arc, voice of truth. Stand strong, focus on your purpose, and release the fear of persecution and speak your truth. I think that's really what I was just trying to get at just now. Like the fear, you use that strength to tackle the fear. Nothing can stop you, right? Don't worry about, again, people mocking you, persecuting you, speaking against you because you did what was best for you. Because you got out of a toxic situation or something. Freya, phases and cycles. So again, something coming to an end, like the world, but also I think again connected to the full moon that we just experienced, and maybe even the energy of Scorpio with the raven and the darkness. I'm getting a lot of Scorpio. There is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. So again, something's ending, but it's better for you. There's a new start. Mercury. Speaking of Mercury retrograde. Open communication. Get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. It's Saint Germain. Speaking of him and Lady Portia. Karma releasing. Move beyond drama. Create your own path and make room for good energy. I like that. Lady Nada. I thought it was going to be Lady Portia. I was about to fall out. Okay. Heart awakening. Awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. The divine director. Look at all these cards that are upright. Intervention and purpose. I talked about purpose too. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. Amen to that. And the next card is facing fear. Kalima, and it's in reverse, right? Just like the devil ended up in reverse. So we'll throw these in. All the cards that I'm opening to are purple again. And look, Holy Amethyst. Talking about the amethyst. It's right here on top of Isis and manifestation. So there's a Venus card. I think that was her. Oh no, it's Faith. I was saying there's a Venus card in this deck, which is why I pulled this deck out, because again, Venus enters Aquarius this week. The Shekinah, Radha, Soul Flame, rediscover a lost part of yourself, experience relationship harmony and healing. Commander Ashtar, call to action, take charge, lead by example, and walk your talk. And Krishna, devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. So cut and mix these up. The Holy Spirit is our overall energy. Expect miracles. The Holy Spirit, that's one of the things. Look up the color of the Holy Spirit, or the color of, it's connected to the seventh ray also. What's the word I'm looking for? The phrase I'm looking for. God. See if you can Google the color of the Holy, that's not the word I'm looking for. The aura of the Holy Spirit. And if it says purple. But that's not the term I'm trying to remember. Anyway, the Holy Spirit is also connected to purple. Expect miracles. Remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. I hate when I can't remember stuff when I'm like in the middle of a video, but my mind is like, my memory is so ridiculous. It's like a little memory mini library that I remember like the most random stuff from like even before I was even born. Some of the stuff I don't know, like it's even baffles me sometimes of how it even got in my head. And I just hate when I can't recall it when I want to. Okay, so first, the card that most directly represents us this week from this deck is Hope, going along with the Seven of Pentacles, love and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth and choose loving thoughts. So yes, that's totally what we're talking about, the need to have a positive mindset. Surrounding us, close friends, family members, co-workers, Mercury, open communication. Get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. Say what you have to say. Again, get away from who you have to get away from. Do what you need to do. Work and finance. El Moria, awakening presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So maybe if you're having fears about money, that's why you need a cloak of protection. And don't allow those fears to prevent you from, seeking a new job where you can be more happy. Look what he's wearing, like an amethyst on his head, on his turban. Or some kind of purple stone. And last but not least, love and relationship. Dharma unfolding. Remember that you're on a path. So right, that may be why something had to end. And take one step at a time to happiness. Boom. From the other tarot decks, Animal and Angel, card most directly representing us this week, Page of Cups. Intuitive, sensitive, artistic, and friendly, a new person enters your life. A relationship begins a new phase. And also there are heightened psychic abilities. We're asked to pay very close attention to those. Also a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces may be particularly significant. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers. Ace of Swords definitely goes with Mercury as well as with the truth and getting a weight off your chest. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations. Seeing the truth of a situation. And a challenging beginning. Because when there's an ending that was hard fought, leads to a challenging beginning. Work and finance, joining El Moria and the Four of Pentacles. Renewal. This is a card of abundance. This is a card of abundance that's earned, the way that I read it. You guys know, those of you who watched me before, you know that I say that about this card. Also represents the planet Pluto and the sign of Scorpio, which it rules. Review and evaluate. A favorable assessment of the facts. It is time to move in a new direction. Judgment. One of my favorite cards. And lastly, love and relationship. The Empress. Lavish abundance. Give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself and others. The Empress is like, you're surviving to fight another day. People are still finding you attractive. You are beautiful. You are nurturing. You are creative. You have all the needs, all that's required to make a new way for yourself in life and maybe in love specifically. And, something new will be birthed. It's about newness, right? And fertility and brand new energy. Hope you guys have enjoyed the general. Those of you who wish to stick around, I'm going to talk about what else is going on this week from like the calendars and stuff. Nothing on the Muslim or Islamic calendar, nothing on the Hebrew or Jewish calendar, but on the Christian calendar, we do have the feast day on Tuesday, the 2nd of February, of the presentation of the Lord. And of course, since this is the Christian calendar, the Lord meaning Jesus Christ. I understand he may not be everybody's Lord. That's the name of the feast day. Okay. And for a little bit more about it, I went to www.wikipedia.org. That's all. And we're just going to see what they have to say. The presentation of Jesus, or in the temple, is an early episode in the life of Jesus describing the presentation at the temple in Jerusalem in order to officially induct him into Judaism. That is celebrated by many Christian churches on the holiday of Candlemas. So that's another name for the celebration, Candlemas. It is described in chapter 2 of the Gospel of Luke in the New Testament of the Christian Bible. Within the account, Luke's narration of the presentation in the temple combines the purification rite with the Jewish ceremony of the redemption of the firstborn. Luke 2:23 through 24. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, the presentation of Jesus, I don't know why I keep getting tongue-tied this week, at the temple is celebrated as one of the 12 great feasts and is sometimes called Hypapante, or meeting in Greek. In Western Christianity, the additional name for the service of this day is Candlemas. The feast day is also known as the Feast of the Purification of the Virgin, or the Meeting of the Lord. In some liturgical churches, Vespers on the Feast of Presentation marks the end of the Epiphany season. Also, in the Evangelist of Deutschland, I guess in Germany, and in the Church of England, the Mother Church of the Anglican Communion, the presentation of Christ in the temple is a principal feast celebrated either on the 2nd of February or on the Sunday between January 28th and February 3rd. So I think in this case, it'll be the same. Either way, that's what it is. In the Catholic Church, especially since the time of Pope Gelasius, who lived or was Pope from 492, I guess he was Pope, from 492 through 496, who in the 5th century contributed to his expansion, the presentation is celebrated on February 2nd and is the 4th joyful mystery of the Rosary. It's so funny. My children are not religious. But today, my daughter, she was out and she called. She wanted to buy a frame for a poster or a picture or something in her room. And she was like, it's next to my TV with the rosary hanging on it. Isn't that weird? And now I'm reading about the rosary. I mean, not a religious bone in their bodies. Anyway, in the Latin Rite of the Catholic Church, the Anglican Communion, and the Lutheran Church, the episode was also reflected in the once prevalent custom of churching new mothers for 40 days after the birth of a child. Maybe that's another reason for the Empress. Another reason for the Empress can also be Venus. Again, Venus entering Aquarius this week. The Empress represents the planet Venus and the signs that she rules: Libra, Taurus, Gemini. So that was the presentation of Jesus. And that would normally be the only thing on the calendar that I would talk about, because I tend to talk about like only the apostles and Jesus and Mary, the main players, right, in the scriptures. But February 3rd is the feast day of one of my most favorite saints, and that is Saint Blaise. I've talked to you guys about him before, and recommended that anybody who is having trouble maybe speaking their truth, or who is having a physical ailment with their throat or something, you may be interested in going to a Catholic church anywhere in the world near you to get your throat blessed on the feast day of Saint Blaise. So I also brought up the blessing of throats on my computer. The blessing of throats is a sacramental of the Roman Catholic Church, ordinarily celebrated on February 3rd, the feast day of Saint Blaise. It's also celebrated in some of the Eastern Catholic churches and in parishes of the Anglican Communion on the same day as a commemoration. And the background, St. Blaise was the bishop of Sebaste in Armenia during the 4th century. Very little is known about his life. According to various accounts, he was a physician before becoming a bishop. His cult spread throughout the entire church in the Middle Ages because he was reputed to have miraculously cured a little boy who nearly died because of a fishbone in his throat. From the 8th century, he has been invoked on behalf of the sick, especially those afflicted with illnesses of the throat. Details regarding the miraculous healing of the boy vary. One account relates that the miracle occurred during the journey to take Blaise to prison, where he placed his hand on the boy's head and prayed. Another says that the miracle happened while Blaise was in prison when he picked up 2 candles provided to him and formed a cross around the boy's throat. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. So the day before is called Candlemas. I don't know if there's any connection. I know there's not a connection with the dates directly, but I don't know if there's any connection for us, like a message we're supposed to be picking up additionally. But one of the messages that I always get personally, and maybe why Blaise is one of my favorites, he died in the year 316, I think it was, which is my birthday backwards, or did he die in 613? Doesn't say on whatever I'm looking at, doesn't say, but I think it was he died in the year 316. So that was one thing that I was connected with him for me. And then the X's are always I don't know, I always have some sort of connection to the X's, like I have a lot of ties with like Malcolm X, like in my history, dates, names, places, occurrences, things. Clarence 13X, he actually was shot and killed on the same block that I was born, the same time of day, on the day that I was born, 613. He was killed on 613 at 10:30 in the morning. I was born at 10:30 in the morning, but he was killed 2 years prior to my birthday, but on the same corner, 135th and Lenox. So it's always these kind of things. And of course, you guys know, those of you who watched me before, my obsession with St. Andrew, who asked to be killed on crucified on a X instead of a traditional cross. And St. Andrew, I think also, he died, I think November 30th in the year 60. So that was like another 613 backwards, or kind of 1136. So there's all these connections anyway for me with the X's, but I feel like I'm supposed to say something else. But anyway, when you get blessed with your when the throat gets blessed for the Feast of St. Blaise, it's 2 candles in the shape of an X that they use to hold up to do the blessing with. So very, very interesting. And yes, always reminds me of one of my other favorite saints, St. Andrew, who of course is one of the fishers of men, St. Peter's brother, also known as the first called. That's the one that Jesus said, come with me. And he was like the first person to walk over. Okay, I'm getting into a whole thing. Moving on to the planetary calendar. This week, February 1st, as I've mentioned, at 9:05 a.m., Venus enters Aquarius, 0 degrees Aquarius. On February 4th at 12:37 p.m., we'll experience the last quarter moon, 16 degrees Scorpio. Maybe that's why all the Scorpio energy keeps popping up. And February 7th at 11:10 a.m., not 11:11, 11:10, the true node, Gemini, will be quintile Chiron, the wounded healer. The true node will be at 18 degrees, or Gemini will be 18 degrees, Gemini, and Chiron 6 degrees. And actually that's in next week. That was February 7th. And this reading goes through oh yeah, the 9th. Okay, I'm sorry. So February 9th at 6 o'clock a.m., Saturn will be sextile Chiron. So Saturn's, again, 6 degrees Aquarius, and Chiron will be at 6 degrees Aries, where it has been located for about a year and a half, I think. Chiron in Aries. talking a little bit more about Venus in Aquarius, though, I went to www.tarot.com to get some info on this. Venus in Aquarius, friendly, optimistic, outgoing. Venus is the planet that guides our desires, our money, and our one-on-one relationships. Because Aquarius is the sign of friendship, it seems like its energy would work quite well with loving Venus, but Aquarius can be an emotionally detached sign, which could put a confusing spin on love and intimate relationships while Venus spends time there. Venus in Aquarius is a time to love with purpose and to uphold the ideals of unity, kindness, and individuality. We're called on now to surround ourselves with others and to open our minds to all forms of love. The line between love and friendship is a very thin one. Venus enters Aquarius. Aquarius rules friendship and groups of all kinds. So during this transit, we often find ourselves falling for people that we already know. We may realize that those we've previously written off as just friends could be our perfect match. The likelihood of meeting a new lover through mutual friends and social outings also increases greatly while Venus is in Aquarius. Aquarius is less attached to its emotions than other signs, relying more on the head than the heart when relating to others. We aren't so interested in connecting over passionate encounters and sweet nothings while Venus is in Aquarius. Instead, we want to unite with those who think the same as we do. Aquarius's loose grip on love gives Venus room to move, making love less sticky and partnership less confining, like the devil, right? So that can be how it applies to some. Those who like the warm and squishy stuff might find others a bit standoffish during this transit. However, the Aquarian approach is less possessive and can bring a needed breath of reason and fresh air to partnerships. Yes, we need our freedom. If in a committed relationship, Venus in Aquarius lightens the level of intimacy and encourages us to reconnect with the honesty, friendship, and common interests that drew us to our partners in the first place. Working together on an environmental or social cause that's meaningful to both partners can also help to rekindle hearts during this transit. We may even find that we feel a lot freer to be individuals within our relationships. Venus in Aquarius makes it clear that pursuing our own passions separately enriches what we bring back to our relationships. For people who are single and ready to mingle, this is one of the best times to do it. The planet of love and desire, in the sign of idealism and creativity, puts an unconventional, even experimental flair on romance and opens our minds about who and how we love. Parties with friends, organized meetups, and protests and other social causes are hotspots for meeting like minded lovers now. And because Aquarius also likes things a little weird, we may find ourselves interested in people and experiences that we have never been attracted to before. And that could be another thing about why Venus is here, like just totally finding ourselves attracted to, right? Attracted to and attracting and attracted by, you know, what we normally wouldn't be. Um, Long story short, the more open we are now, the more likely we are to find love. While Venus is in Aquarius, we're drawn to modern, original forms of art and personal style. It's a great time to experiment, with new ways of dress and decor. And we also find greater benefit from high-tech gadgets, and splurging on new electronics now can help us well beyond this transit. Well, maybe normally, but I don't know about now, because like I keep saying, Mercury retrograde started today. And it started, guess where? Yes, in Aquarius. Both Mercury and Venus are there. So Mercury rules communication. And Aquarius, specifically, of the different types of communication, rules technology and electronics. So those kind of things can go left. I don't know if you want to be buying new electronics, but you think about it. It goes on to talk about what it means if you were born with Venus in Aquarius in your sign. And that's it for this week. I'll be back with love. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment. I try to answer, like I said, all the comments that I receive and answer all the questions and everything that I get. I do try. If sometimes I don't see them all, like I find them later in spam and I feel really bad. But I don't know. That's YouTube. I can't do anything about YouTube. Speaking of not being able to do anything about YouTube, I often don't get to notify you that I've even put up a video. So I'm trying new ways to try to get that message out, but who knows? When you subscribe, please hit both the subscribe button and the bell button, please, 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 so that hopefully you can actually receive notifications. Share the video, like the video, and support the video. That's it. Like I said, I'll be back with love. I appreciate you guys. Namaste.